Hello again, Mark Morris in the studios with another edition of Along the Rock. And our guest today is actually from this area. Joplin Sell is his name. Tell us a little bit about your background and then we'll get into the big trip.
Well, hello there. I am Joplin Sell, and I am a former Sterling High School graduate. I graduated in the class of 1992. Grew up here my whole life. My family's from the area, and my immediate family, my dad was in the military, so I was actually born out on Edwards Air Force Base, and we lived in Hawaii until I was 4, and then we moved back to the Sauk Valley area, and I grew up here my whole childhood. So.
Well, that's our connection to the Sauk Valley. You've also got a connection now, apparently, to Finland.
Finland, exactly.
Why Finland?
Why Finland? I actually had been drawn to going to Europe for years. I was lucky to go to Africa a few years ago. Being a public school teacher, I don't get to travel as much because funds are limited, since we don't fund our public schools like we need to.
Wait a minute. Different subject.
Yes, totally different subject. But I had been drawn for many years to going to Europe, and especially the Scandinavian countries. I did some ancestry DNA, and we have some lineage in the Scandinavian countries there. And so Finland. Years ago, in their tourism program, they have been the happiest country in the world for the last 7 years, and they started off doing what was called Rent-a-Fin contest, where you could apply and they would hook you up with one of their citizens for a week to learn about how to be happy and what it's like. And I saw that, it was about 6 years ago, and I applied. I didn't get selected, and so every year I saw like a new version of their tourism contest. This year they focused specifically on their capital, Helsinki, and so the theme this year was called Helsinki Happiness Hacks. And I applied like I did every year for the last 5 years, and I made a TikTok video, a 2-minute TikTok video talking about my happiness hacks in my life. And it was I filmed it in my classroom and talking about how much I love being a teacher. And believe it or not, I was one of 14 people selected out of 60,000 people in the world to go to Finland for an all-expense paid trip to Finland for a week. And they put us up in a 4-star hotel, or 5-star hotel. Gotta make sure I say that. 5-star hotel in the heart of Helsinki, Finland, and all expenses paid for, the transportation, meals, everything. And then they had a theme every day, and they brought in, they called them happiness hackers, and they taught us just how we can incorporate happiness in all areas of our lives based on the theme of that day. And I could tell you it was a once-in-a-lifetime incredible experience.
Well, I guess my question that I think a lot of people would ask is, why are they so happy in Finland?
And that's what
it's cold up there.
Exactly. I mean, for a good chunk of the year, they don't have warm temperatures. It's pretty chilly, and then they lose the sun for a couple of months. But during the summer, the sun is out for half a year. And talking with the people, and especially the people who put on the contest, it's not about like a fake happy. Everyone's walking around with smiles on their face. Happiness. It's happiness in terms of life contentment and being content with what you have and being happy with what you have and accepting just the struggles as well as the joys. And they're just a very honest culture who just embrace the moment. And, as an example, one of the days that our first day there was about food and enjoying what you put into your body and eating clean and healthy and green but the meals were like 5 hours when we had dinner, and you just savored everything, and you weren't rushed. And it was ironic because a week before I left for this trip, I was out running errands, and I went into a fast food chain. I won't say which one, but I went into a fast food chain there in where I live at in New Jersey, and up on the wall right above my table was a sign that said, limit your conversation to 15 minutes. And then, and I'm like, wow. So we're encouraging people in our in our country to hurry up and eat, gobble of food just so another paying customer can come in. And over there in Finland, everything was just a bit more relaxed. They want you to enjoy your surroundings, the people you're with, the meal. It was all about being present, not rush like we are here.
Now, I want to admit that I was doing a little research online.
Yeah.
One of the things that the man who was doing the explanations, the 5 best things, the 5 worst things, that sort of thing, said he didn't care for the food.
Oh my gosh. In Finland? He said, I love the food. I have to say, so I have suffered from some digestive issues most of my life. I have pretty bad GER. I had to have my gallbladder removed a couple of years ago. I've just had digestion issues just literally my whole life. The whole week I was there in Finland and eating the food that I was being exposed to over there, nothing. My stomach had no problems. Nothing. It was so clean and great. I got to experience reindeer for the first time, which tasted like roast. That was really good. I got to experience. I love seafood, but I'm growing up here in Illinois, we're kind of limited with the freshness of the seafood that we have. I live on the East Coast now, so I do get some really good seafood out there. I have to tell you, the seafood up there was amazing. The fish. I don't know if it's the Baltic Sea or all the thousands of lakes that they got up there in Finland, but the quality of the fish was incredible. And I had smoked fish for my first time, raw. I had never had raw fish before. Like, I'm not a big sushi guy, and this melted in your mouth like butter. It had no fishy taste. Like usually people that don't like seafood, they always complain about the fishy taste.
Yeah.
This had nothing like that. It was just so smooth and it was delicious. So that's interesting that somebody said that the Finnish food.
Yeah, well, I guess it's just personal taste, but
they don't. The funny thing is that they're very proud of homegrown food, homegrown vegetables, homegrown meat. They only the restaurant that we went to, our happiness hacker, that we had that day. He was a chef of the restaurant, and he told us everything is that you're going to eat tonight was made here in this country, except the salt. We imported the salt, and that's the only thing. So they weren't about bringing in a whole bunch of different spices. A lot of the spices that they used to flavor their meals were natural herbs and plants. And all our meals had flowers. And I never thought of eating flowers before, but
it was part of the meal.
It was part of the meal, and you ate the flowers with the meal. And I was like, this is really cool how proud they are of what they grow, and it was just a neat experience.
One of the things that was pointed out, and I didn't realize this in Finland in particular, because I know that there are a couple of things to the north, like Lapland.
Yes.
I guess that's how they say it, Lapland?
Lapland, yeah. They share, Lapland is shared. It's an area in the north of Scandinavia that's shared with Sweden and Norway, and then Finland. And there's Native American or indigenous people not Native American, but indigenous people that are there that even sprinkle over into the Russia area as well. And they have a full-blown culture, and they're up there close to the Arctic Circle.
Right, which means, as you said in the beginning here, that the sunlight for a short part of the year is kind of hard to come by, but then for the rest of the year, it's abundant.
They have abundant during the summertime. So while we were there, I was there during the second week of June, and so we're getting close to the summer solstice, and even down in the capital of Helsinki, the sun would not set until 12:30 in the morning, and it would rise at 2:30 in the morning. So the one night we went out to eat for a dinner, and then we had that 5-hour meal. We get done eating, and they bust us back to the hotel, and I'm like, well, what time is it? Because I was thinking it was like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You lose track of time when you're having fun, and I looked at my watch, and it was 10:30, and the sun was still as bright as it would be in the afternoon. So we're like, hey, let's go for a walk, and it kept you not tired. Like you had to literally force yourself to go to bed when it was
fooled your body.
Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting. I guess another big thing in Finland, I don't know if you partook or not, the sauna.
Oh my gosh, that is built into the culture. There is there is a sauna for every two people in the country. Like, so they're everywhere. They have public saunas, and then people own private saunas. And part of the experience, of course, we had the saunas there in the hotel, but there are archipelagos everywhere around Helsinki, and so they took us to one of the famous saunas there was called Lona, and we got to experience a traditional Finnish sauna that's with wood, that they use instead of like an artificial heat source, they actually use a wood stove. And it was a 2-story sauna, which was interesting to me. So the stove was on the first level, and it had the showers on the first level, and then there was a staircase in the middle, and then you walk up the staircase, and that's where all your benches were to sit. And so the hot steam and air would come up, and you would get hot pretty fast up there. Now, the cool thing about it, which this was new for me because I'm not much on cold water. I like to have, when I take a bath or shower, I enjoy my hot water. But it is tradition that after you've heated up quite a bit, to do a cold plunge. And with being there in the Baltic Sea, we experienced running out of the sauna, down the beach, and plunging into the Baltic Sea, which it was probably in the 40-degree range. It was very cold, where I started walking in, and I couldn't feel my legs. I was actually wearing these flip-flops, and they came off of my feet because I had no feeling in my legs. I didn't know how to keep no grip on them. But then it was interesting because the people that we were with, they were partaking with us. And some of them went right into the water without any reaction. They were in it for over 15 minutes, swimming around. And like all of us from around the world who weren't used to the cold plunge, we were like screaming, jumping in, jumping out, having a ball. But I have to say, by the end of my week there, our last night there, they took us out on a floating sauna in the middle of the Baltic Sea to have this grand party, and we all jumped freely off of the floating house into the sea, and I got used to it. It's still not as I'm not a pro like they are in Finland, but I'll tell you what, there was something exhilarating about going from sitting in a sauna and relaxing and, building up your body temperature. And then when you jump into something cold like that, you feel alive. It awakens every atom in you, every molecule. You just like are in your body. Like you go from relaxed to full adrenaline. And it was, I can understand why they do it. I can understand why it's built into their culture.
Sure. Now, not to get too personal, but this gentleman online who was, again, talking about the customs and so forth, said mostly the Finns do it naked.
Traditionally, yes, that would be, you're 100% correct. Where we were a part of, they had public saunas where they weren't naked in the public saunas. Bathing suits were required, but I did know like in the family saunas and there are some more traditional Finnish saunas that we could have gone to, but we just went to where they were taking us, and all the ones that we went to, we didn't have to disrobe all the way.
Didn't want to upset the tourists.
Yeah.
Northern Lights, hard to see most of the time here.
Yes.
In north central plains, but up there, over there, I guess it's pretty common.
It is pretty common now. Unfortunately, while we were there, and we were in Helsinki, so we had a lot of city lights, and the sun was not, setting. So I didn't get a chance to experience it in the summertime, being in the beginning of June. And stuff, but they are known, especially up in the Lapland area. You can actually they have a lot of the glass igloos, they call it, where it's a room that's shaped like an igloo, and then you have full windows to the sky because evidently they're amazing up there. I would love to return to Finland during the cold months and go experience the northern lights up there because they seem to be incredible.
Yeah. Me too. Take me along.
Yeah.
I can save my money. Did you learn, or had you already learned some of the language?
I knew, so I went into it really raw. I wanted to just embrace, and I knew that part of the contest even though it was people from around the world, they did want. They told us ahead of time we would be experiencing everything in English, so they wanted to make sure that the people who they selected from the other countries could speak English. So the entire time, things were given to us in English. But our host did help teach us a little bit of Finland. We learned kippus and like thank you. And then when you do a toast, which that has gone out of my mind because I haven't used it since I was there in June. But I only learned like 2 words while I was there. Now I have to say the language was pretty interesting looking at the signs everywhere because they actually. Finland celebrates both Finnish and Swedish since they're their next door neighbors, so everything is posted in both languages. And some of those words are long. Like I was like, wow, they're
double and triple vowels.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That.
And so I can even begin to pronounce some of that stuff because it's just totally outside of my wheelhouse. But we learned, like I said, we learned a little while we were there, but I'm nowhere near being a Finn, and I didn't take any Finn classes or anything up until going there because I just was like wanting to go in as a raw experience, just everything being brand new.
All right. Well, at the risk of sounding like a travelogue here, which obviously we didn't want, but that's okay if you've never been there. And of course, as I told you before we started taping, I really never thought about going to Finland.
I would tell everybody to put Finland on your bucket list of places to go. Especially, you'll fly into the capital city area of Helsinki. Helsinki is an amazing capital. That country has found a way to balance nature, the humanity needs, the way that they take care of their citizens, the way that they take care of each other, and the way that they take care of the earth is amazing. It's a very, very green country, not just with all the forest that's there, but green in the sense that they make sure that it's not a dirty place. They keep it clean. I mean, for being in an urban city area, you walk the streets, there was no trash. It was safe. You didn't see crime. You didn't hear about crime. It just felt like a dream almost. It's like this is how we're supposed to be. The way they had a public transportation system that was out of this world. They had the trams that would go all through the city that would take you everywhere. Of course, there's Uber and stuff like that, but the public trams, you didn't need to take an Uber. There's bicycles everywhere. There's boats. They have a ferry system to get to all the islands, and it's just done right. I mean, it's something that I would have never have thought that, I must go to Helsinki, Finland, like you said. I mean, people that like to travel, make a point to go to Scandinavia, make a point to go to Helsinki, go to Stockholm, go to Oslo, go to Estonia, go up north. Don't just go down to France, Germany, Italy. Don't forget about the Scandinavian countries too, because it's completely mind-blowing what you see up there. It's just beautiful. Beautiful.
The word classy comes to mind. Maybe it's beyond that, but
yeah, and it's not even like the classy, like I know the classic or like rich. It doesn't even feel rich. It just feels there. Like you have stone everywhere. You have trees everywhere. You have plants everywhere. You have people that are friendly and that respect each other. I read after I had gone on my trip, one gentleman was on the train and he left his bag with all his money and all his passports, and he made it back to his hotel realizing he didn't have his stuff. And he's like, what do I do? And he went all the way to the train station. Somebody had found it and turned it in, and it didn't take anything.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. And they're really, really big about helping people over there. They're really big about one thing that on our first day, they took us to their public library that they built a few years ago. If you have a chance to go online and look at the Helsinki Public Library, it's an immaculate, huge, just creatively designed building. It's 5 stories, and the first floor they have cafe They have some activity rooms and stuff, and then you go up and they have hobby rooms where you can get sewing machines, guitars, have a studio if you wanted to record something. Everything's free. They have 3D printers. They have, if you don't know how to use a sewing machine, they will teach you. They will help you learn. And then up on the top floor, they had the books, and they had, which was really cool. They have 3 robots that work in the library that go around and deliver books, and they're on wheels. They're not like a walking robot, but if they're on wheel robots, and they have this the way that the architect was designed in that top floor. You have the adult section on one side, the kids on the other side, and you can be in the adult side and you can't hear the kids, and then you walk across the floor and then you get to the kid side and kids are there laughing, screaming, having fun, and you're like, how did I not hear this when I was over on just the way that the acoustics were done in that place made it magical, and it's interesting because it's like I saw that and I'm like, wow, this is what we need to do. We need to invest in our people, invest in our community, invest in our children, invest in our families. And they do that there. And they give them that space where they can go and celebrate and just learn about the world and learn about life.
Yeah. Joplin sounds really, really interesting and idealistic.
It almost is. I mean, it almost had that idealistic feel like, wow, I mean, what can we do? How can we improve the way that we live? We struggle a lot in our country.
Why can't we do this?
Yeah, and I know, I mean, they're a smaller country than we are, but they made it work. They were the first country to allow women to vote. If people didn't know that in the world, they were the first country that brought women aboard prior to the United States. And so that's something to go, okay, let's see.
Something's going on here.
Yeah. And they have an amazing school system. As a public school teacher, I'm very proud being a public school teacher here in the United States. But I also know the hardships that we have and things that we need to do better in our communities and in our schools for our kids. And over there, they just have a way that they put their school system together that works for everybody, works for the kids, works for the families. They stay in school. When school is done with, the community brings the recreation to the schools. And the kids are able to be in sports and clubs and everything right there on campus. And then afterwards, the parents pick them up. So the parents, like here, you have a lot of poor families that the kids get out of school and then events are later in the day. So parents have to carpool their kids around here, there, soccer games, football games, everything. Over there, all the events happen right after school. So in the evening time, families can be together. And they can just eat together and spend their evening together without having to go to game responsibilities and stuff, and it's just a different mindset.
Just another idea.
Yeah.
Joplin Sell, it's been great. Thanks for going.
Thank you very much.
Scale of 1 to 10. What was your visit like?
My scale of 1 to 10, it would be 100. Finland. Okay. Finland. I'm going back to. I know the 13 other people that I went with. All of us said at the end of the week that we all want to be able to go back one day, and we joked about let's have a reunion back there, and because we had people from Brazil, Japan, France, Germany, India, England, so there was a good mix of us from around the world, and it was all our first time going to Finland, so we all were so blown away with it that we all want to go back. So
right, boy, I may join you. We were talking with Joplin Sell, who originally is from the Sauk Valley, and he now lives in New Jersey, or as they say there, New Joycey.
Yeah.
And he spent a good part of June in Finland. So you can enjoy it if you've got the money, or you win a contest.
Win a contest. Enter. You may never know. Your life could change. Take that risk.
Something online. And,
that's right.
You might win. And I'm Mark Morris. This has been Along the Rock once again. Hope you can join us next time.